Formaji YouTube video k lia oper jo tum ny story lik kdhs k oper tai men strong hook lik k do. Hook jandar. Suspenseful our curiosity si barpor hona chaye k mary vaur engage ho jn our video ko ntk dekina window full of stars. The night was unusually quiet. A soft wind moved through the trees outside her window. She leaned against the cool glass, staring at the sky. Stars scattered like tiny shards of light, trembling in the dark. The room behind her smelled faintly of old books and lavender. A sudden chill crawled along her spine. She pulled the blanket tighter around her shoulders. Her eyes caught something unusual among the stars. One star flickered strangely, then disappeared. Another blinked in the opposite rhythm, almost like it was alive. Her heartbeat quickened, echoing in her ears. The shadows in her room grew deeper, shifting as if they were moving. A soft tapping sounded on the windowpane, slow and deliberate. She froze, staring at the empty garden outside. The tapping grew louder, more insistent, but no wind stirred the trees. Her reflection in the glass seemed off, her eyes darker than usual. A whisper brushed her ear, soft, urgent, and impossible to locate. Her fingers trembled against the window frame. The stars outside pulsed in perfect synchrony with her racing heart. Suddenly, one star fell toward the earth, blazing bright, too close, too fast. Her breath caught as the light seemed to pierce the room itself. Shadows on the walls twisted unnaturally, forming shapes she could not name. A cold hand pressed against her shoulder from behind, but the room remained empty. Her reflection smiled at her, but she had not moved. The window seemed to expand, the stars spilling into her room. She tried to step back, but the floor felt slippery, unreal, like walking on glass. The stars whispered secrets she could almost understand, filling her mind with strange visions. And then a shadow detached from the darkness outside, slowly moving toward her. Her heart slammed in her chest as every star seemed to focus on that single approaching figure. The shadow moved closer, gliding rather than walking, its edges wavering like smoke caught in a strange wind. Her eyes were fixed, unable to look away, every instinct screaming to run. The stars outside the window pulsed with a strange rhythm, almost as if they were alive and watching her terror. A low hum filled the room, vibrating through the walls and into her bones. She tried to step backward, but the floor beneath her feet seemed to stretch and ripple like water. Her breath came in shallow gasps, visible in the cold night air, and yet she felt a heat rising from her chest. The shadow stopped a few feet away, and for a moment, the room was suspended in silence. Then it moved its head, or what seemed to be a head, and she realized it had no face, only a dark void that reflected the stars themselves. A shiver raced down her spine as the void seemed to pull at her, whispering in a language older than time. Her pulse thudded in her ears, loud enough to drown out the soft tapping of the window that had started again. The stars outside flickered violently, and she could swear some of them were falling in impossible arcs, spiraling like sparks from a fire. A sudden cold wind blasted through the room, carrying a metallic tang that made her stomach churn. She clutched the window frame, her nails digging into the cold wood as if holding herself in place. The shadow extended a limb, or something like a limb, and it seemed to stretch endlessly toward her. She stumbled backward, but the room no longer felt like the room she knew. The walls were breathing, expanding and contracting as though the house itself were alive. The stars from outside were flooding into the room now, tiny points of light crawling along the floor and walls like swarming insects. Her reflection in the window no longer matched her movements. It moved on its own, smiling wider and wider, its eyes glinting with a starry light she had never seen before. Her scream caught in her throat as the tapping became pounding, relentless and urgent. The shadow spoke, though it had no mouth, and the sound vibrated inside her skull rather than her ears. It said her name, elongated and dripping with cold, ancient intent. The stars pressed closer, tiny points of light embedding themselves into her skin, warming her but also burning, leaving tiny marks that glowed faintly. Every instinct told her to run, but her feet felt rooted, the floor beneath her sticky and pliant, almost like flesh. The shadow reached out again, and she could see the stars moving along its form, giving its structure a terrifying shape that should not exist. It was tall, impossibly tall, stretching beyond the ceiling, its head brushing the ceiling beams that seemed to bend under its weight. She noticed something horrifying. The stars in the sky were no longer scattered. They were converging, aligning toward her window, as though the entire cosmos were focusing on this single point. Her chest tightened, the room spinning around her. A sensation of vertigo swept over her, and suddenly the walls disappeared entirely. She stood on the edge of a void, stars swirling beneath her feet, infinite and cold. The shadow was now right in front of her, its form pulsating with stolen light, a living eclipse of the universe. She tried to scream again, but no sound emerged, even her voice had been absorbed by the cold void. The stars outside flickered one final time, and she felt herself pulled upward, toward the window, toward the infinite night. The whispering intensified, filling every corner of her mind, a chorus of voices both cruel and beautiful. Memories she had never lived passed through her like lightning, other lives, other worlds, all staring back at her from the void. The shadow extended